In Response, a legacy podcast, is brought to you by greatness@anycost.com and Austrian-Legacy.com. Hello everyone, and welcome to the 11th episode of
In Response.
A legacy podcast.
I'm Philipp Klein,
I'm Daniel.
And I'm Peter Plank,
and we're talking about legacy.
most of the time.
So, before we begin with the episode, if you like our podcast, you could review it on iTunes, and it would be great if you followed the In Response cast on Twitter. It's @response_legacy. In today's episode, we talk about the latest Commander Legends spoiler, the Team Lotus box event from AnzidMTG. Also, we're talking about the latest Legacy Challenge and the upcoming Austrian Legacy League Cup and the decks we play in this tournament. And also we start off with the things that happen in our life that's restrained by COVID. So, Peter, what happens in your life? What's up?
Yeah, currently, as I talked previously on the last episode, my parents are now infected or were infected with corona. My brother was infected with corona, and so I was a little bit shut down from society, staying at home, still attending university courses, but mostly online via distance learning. And yeah, in the next weeks,
Are they healthy now?
my brother and my father are cured, and my mother has to stay home until Thursday, and then she's allowed to go to work again. So they're all cured.
I have a question. Did they have a loss of smelling and tasting?
I don't know about my brother and my father. I don't think they had that kind of thing, but my mother was unable to taste anything on the previous weekend. So yeah,
Because
she cooked something, but she didn't tasted it very well.
because it seems to be one of the most significant or recognizable symptoms of corona from what I have heard. Because I have a lot of different cases in my surrounding, and oftentimes I hear that people are losing their sense of smell and taste. Unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. But it will come back soon after, and if you get back your tasting ability, it's a good indication that corona will end for you, at least.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the later symptoms you get. It's not one of the first signs.
Yeah, the first one is definitely more in line with lung function, like coughing or something like that. And
Yeah, so you told us, and how about you? Did you get infected? Were you sick?
As I said on the last episode, I was together doing something with my dad and my mom, and there was only one day prior that they were together with my brother. So it could have been that my parents were already infected, and with that, I could have caught it actually. And yeah, as it seems, I weren't sick, so everything fine.
So, for our listeners out there who doesn't know this, Austria has probably one of the highest infect rates out there. I think it's just
In Europe?
Yeah, for sure in Europe. I think it's just second to the.
It's quite severe.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I mean, we're just second, I think, to the Czech Republic. Only their infect rates are higher. and we are already running low on ICU beds, so it's really hard now, and I think COVID will stay for a little, for the next some months at least. So yeah, the situation is just not good. So how about you, Daniel?
Yeah, the situation for me is kind of similar. I work at university, and one of my office colleagues was tested positive with COVID. And as soon as I heard the news, I stayed at home. I have the blessing that in my job or my work at university, I can go to home office rather easily, which is a good thing. Yeah, but the situation in Austria is rather severe, as we already mentioned, and the testings, or more specifically the contact tracing, is so out of control that I think for this case, since I think it's in Linz, which is one of the largest or bigger cities in Austria. The case here that we have here is not even resolved after 1 week of positive testing. So that's quite severe, because I'm actually a direct contact to that person in theory, but the problem is that they are so out of capacity in order to process the contact tracing, that the contact to me, or the guidance of what I should do, is still on pending mode actually.
Yeah, regarding the contact tracing, a friend of us, his mom was a direct contact to a positive person, and she had to wait, I think, a week or something for her positive test, and at first she wasn't allowed to stay at home, so she took things in her own hands and stayed at home, because she doesn't wanted to risk any people's lives. But I think that just tells us how hard it is for the government to make the contact tracing work. So
Yeah, of course.
but in good news, there's a new vaccine developed, and it says it brings 90% immunity, and that's just so huge news. Maybe we can go back to normal life. Maybe in the next some years, yeah?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So
21.
Autumn.
Maybe autumn, yeah. I think
Maybe autumn or 2021,
yeah, probably.
hopefully.
I think the vaccine might be available, if you're optimistic, in the summer next year, maybe.
Yeah.
Somewhere around that, and then maybe for the next winter, not this winter, we are more able to handle the situation.
Yeah, hopefully we are able to handle this new situation. I just want to go to go back to the normal that we had before.
Yeah.
Just go out and drink with friends, or go to the cinema, or go to the movies, and just go to someone and chat with them.
I mean, I think it's kind of strange. I don't know about you guys, but in a way, this new life we have this year, it is a little bit surreal, but for me, to a certain extent, it kind of feels almost normal. I have adjusted to that a little bit, if you know what I mean. I mean, for me, it's just normal to put on a mask when I go into a store now. You know what I mean?
That's definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
'cause-
I mean, the masks aren't hindering me in any way. The masks are great, even if COVID, the problem of COVID is resolved, and I think the masks should be more normal normally integrated in our lives. But there's just so many things I'm missing because I'm a very extroverted, I'm a very outgoing person, and I just miss chatting up with friends and meeting with friends, going out to eat or go to the cinema, and even go partying. It's almost a year now, and it's
Yeah,
almost a year now,
I
and
understand. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just really hard for me. Yeah. So
Sure.
as an extroverted person, I need this interaction with the people.
yeah, it's definitely something. Yeah, it's definitely something that everyone is gonna miss. I have to assume it's just missing friends that I haven't talked to in person in nearly now about a year or something like that. I have some friends that I only meet up every month or something like that, and yeah, there are some local parties or Oktoberfests in Austria, how we would say, where we meet up every year, drink together a big amount of beer and other alcoholic stuff together, and meet up regularly once a year. And that's fell through this year, and it's kind of a shame, I would say, that we don't meet up that often now. But yeah, let's hope that we can get back to a more normal life next year, or let's hope that it will be 2022 a reality.
Yeah, so going on to our next topic, it's not really, it doesn't have any more to do with COVID, but it's definitely COVID infused. Because we we don't have any paper magic at the moment in Austria. We have no in-store play. It's everything suspended. The Austrian Legacy League can't play their tournaments. Everything's on pause, and I, as the head of the ALL, want to bring you at least some content to be to look out for. And I thought about this, and I came to the conclusion I wanted to make a new tournament with a different structure that's where everyone is safe and can play like you want. And therefore, I bring you the Austrian Legacy League Cup. It's, as I said, it's a different structure. We are 16 people. It's like a soccer championship. So there are 4 groups with 4 people in each, and everyone plays against everyone in their group. And it's just a really, really neat design, and we try to make it work. And we bring it this on Twitch. We're bringing this on Twitch at Austrian_Legacy. It's twitch.tv/Austrian_Legacy. And it's a really cool idea. It's webcam legacy, and we try to have a great tournament, and we stream each week. And for the dates, you can follow the Austrian Legacy League on Twitter. It's at Austrian_Legacy, and yeah, it's brought to you with live commentary by us.
Handled by the response team, basically.
Yeah.
We 3.
And you, because we're all playing in this event together, we can't always commentate as the whole in response crew, but we try to commentate as often as possible as the whole crew, and we try to make this work technically when it should at the moment, how we can really do this. I'm not sure at the moment. I think this podcast is available on Friday. I'm not sure at the moment where we are when we are starting.
So the podcast will be available on
the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
So it will be
the 20th, right? Should be
Yeah.
the first day. 20th
Yeah,
of
it's
November.
the 20th of November, so it's next week, Friday, on 2030 CET. And yeah, we hope you tune in.
I have a question, Philip. Do we also release the deck lists beforehand or showcase the deck lists?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm sorry, I forgot this. The whole tournament will be open deck list, so everyone knows who what the other person is playing and what the other person is up with. So everyone can keep their starting hands accordingly, and everyone who's interested can look it up. We'll post it on Twitter, on our Twitter account from the Austrian Legacy League, and the whole tournament will we will bring the whole tournament there on Twitter.
And yeah, so you will get each week one group. It's played in back and forth. It's played back and forth, so you play every opponent in your group twice, and after that we have standard top 8 composure with quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. We are playing out the third place too, and what's something interesting we have for you guys is that we play semifinals and finals in best of 5s.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely.
Which is
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the best of 5s. It's such a cool way to play MTG. You don't see that anymore since the Pro Tour got cancelled, and it's simply a great way for a tournament.
It just means more magic, and specifically more paper magic in a sense.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we will have something for you for the next 11 weeks or so. So feel free to tune in every week, or no, not or tune in every week and watch us commentate on it. And yeah, the VODs will be on YouTube, I think, later on. Should be on YouTube later on, and yeah, will be definitely a nice tournament.
So yeah, to be part of the tournament, just follow at @respawns_legacy on Twitter. Also, you can follow me at MtG on Twitter, and make sure to follow the @Austrian_legacy account on Twitter, and also twitch.tv/Austrian_legacy. And you can always DM our feedback about the podcast and about the whole cup to the Austrian Legacy League account there. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and it will be great. So Peter, what are you playing in the tournament?
Yeah, I'm playing banter with my opponents, and
nice.
And banter is
what's banter?
Banter is Band Painter. It's a list from POW22 MtG. Originally, he played that one in March. And yeah, it's basically an all-in painter shell which abuses or tries to abuse Whale of Summer in the main deck and Oko in the sideboard. It's a form of painter I wanted to test out because it's a little bit more all in, I would say. It's definitely something I'm not that used to because I'm more of a control deck player. I'm definitely more the guy that wants to play the safe route until I have one path to winning. And with this version, I'm now a little bit more all in because I'm playing LED to go for a fast combo. I'm playing Orange Chance, which was one of my favorite cards in the Chess Guy Breach decks, which were allowed this year. It's been a long time since then. But yeah, I really like the shell in that. So this list pays Painter, Emery, Lurk of the Luck, Teferis, because broken 2019 cards, Brainstorm, Orange Chance, Veil of Summers, Intuition's Divine Reclamation, and Force of Will. Intuition's Divine Reclamation is, I would say, this is the pet combo of mine nowadays because it's just, the value of this combo is just too great. As removal, I play Engineered Explosives, fast combo, Lion's Eye Diamond, Lotus Petal, Mox Opal, Grindstones to win, and a one of Ensnaring Bridge in the main deck. Mox Opals are empowered by 5 artifact lands in Ancient Den and Seed of the Synod, and then a pretty much typical Bant mana base from Legacy.
I have a question about this list because normally when you look at a painter list, they are, I think, mostly red based, and I think that's probably because of the powerful interaction of when you name blue with painter, you not only get to use your Force of Wills with any card, but you also get to utilize the red blasts to basically have
to destroy everything.
Have a Vindicate of 1 mana. Don't you miss that in this version, or do you think that this missing piece reduces the power level of the deck, or do you think?
I think at some spots, I think I miss the Pyroblast, but the problem is that I really want to play Teferi and Oko.
Yeah.
And the problem here is that the mana base would get really out of hand, and Emery is just good enough, I would say, to compensate this. Emery with my opponent not having the bolt immediately is just way too good, because Emery recurring Engineered Explosives or something like that is the engine is just insane.
I basically would compare Emery here to Goblin Engineer.
It's more or less Goblin Engineer because it's something that can mill something off the top. It can mill a Divine Reclamation or something like that.
So you think
it's really
better,
good?
It's better than Goblin Engineer.
It's better than Goblin Engineer in the sense that you can recur Engineered Explosives.
Okay.
Because that's something you're unable to do. But Goblin Engineer is a little bit better in some spots because you can tutor up the artifact you want, and with Emery you have to hope to mill the right one.
Yeah.
But Emery is more or less a 1-drop, and Goblin Engineer is a 2-drop. That's something that can't be underestimated, because artifact land, Mox Opal, Lotus Petal, or Lion's Eye Diamond means that you can play Emery for 1, and that's.
With the 4 Emerys, have you thought about playing Enlightened Tutor? I mean, you could go Enlightened Tutor and then mill it and play it with Emery.
I have thought about it, but Enlightened Tutor is also a card that goes down on cards, and if you're already playing Force of Will to protect yourself, Enlightened Tutor is another card that could be something, but maybe it's too slow. I mean, I see that, and I think I don't have space for Enlightened Tutor.
I mean, it's also quite a bad top deck later on.
Yeah, definitely.
In a sense, I would describe this deck as it has some attrition based elements in it, and Enlightened Tutor is kind of rough with that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I see a point in playing it, but yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think that's enough from banter, and we will go on to the next player of us. What are you playing, Daniel?
My deck of choice is Ant, not Test this time. I have played a lot of tests in the past weeks or months even, but I think Ant has a little bit of higher potential now again, for the simple reason that a lot of people are packing Mindbreak traps into their sideboards now. And Tess has a really rough time beating that card specifically. And Ent, on the other hand, has a lot of discard. And so Mindbreak Trap is less of a problem. Of course, if you switch from Test to Ent, you're getting back your graveyard dependency because ultimately it's a Past in Flames deck. However, I think it still has some potential, and I kind of like this version that I have registered for this tournament right now. I try to play as little expensive cards as I have to, basically. And so I just have one Past in Flames. Typically, Ant has played 2 copies of that card in the past. I have no Dark Petition. And the reason for all that is I want to make my Ad Nauseam as good as possible. Because Ad Nauseam is still basically the best thing you can do if you want to play around Graveyard Hates, Surgical, or if you want to play around Spirit of the Labyrinth or something like that, because with Ad Nauseam you don't draw that card. I think you just reveal it and put it in your hand, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And instead, what I'm playing is Wishclaw Talisman. I know it's compared to a card like Dark Petition, it is 1 extra mana that you have to pay, but I like the idea of just playing a Wishclaw Talisman onto the board and utilizing it later on. I have always been...
Yeah, that's the famous value talisman.
Exactly, yeah. And I personally have always been a kind of a patient Storm player, and I think when you're playing Storm, you really have to be patient. And winning with Storm often revolves around sequencing 2 or 3 turns together, where you have a distinct plan for each turn, and then on the last turn you sculpt your game plan or hand and board together that you can sneak in and win. And what I also like about this list that I get to play 3 Veil of Summer in the main deck. A really strong card that is of course really strong against Storm, but in my opinion also really strong in Storm. Veil of Summer protects yourself from any other discard spells from your opponent, and of course also makes your spells uncountable, which is just really, really strong and valuable in the meta right now. Given, or if you think about Force of Negation kind of taking over the format in a sense, I think there are basically no blue attrition decks that don't have access to at least 2 or 3 copies in addition to the normal forces. So it's getting harder for Storm.
Yeah, I think 7 forces is the norm now.
Kind of, yeah. At least 6, oftentimes 7, yeah. I even saw, I think, a Miracles list with 8 forces in the main deck. This is crazy. But yeah, that's apparently the way it should be now.
Yeah. I think Mark Eric Vogt is playing 7 now for a few months now.
Is this Miracles or Snowcore?
I think
Miracles.
It's time for Infernal Tutor with Split Second.
Yeah.
Would be good.
Yeah. Other than that, it's a normal Storm list. I think the one interesting aspect that is good to mention is the sideboard, where I have the package of 3 Force of Vigor and Kahira the Orphan Guard as companion. The idea behind the card...
That's very spicy.
That's very spicy, yeah. Other pro Storm pilots tried this version as well. And the idea behind this is that with Force of Vigor, you often lack another green card that you can pitch. And Kahira is a guaranteed green card in your hand, so that your forces are on land when you need it. And in addition, of course, also Kahira can just be a beater if you want it against a control deck, especially after game 1 when they should board out all their removal. In a blind tournament, I think it might also be correct to not reveal Kahira. I think I talked to Peter about this. It's kind of questionable if you want to reveal Kahira game 1 on the blind and reveal to your opponent that you might be on Storm if they know the tech, or if you want to not reveal it so that you get the advantage of them not mulligan to a Force, let's say. It's kind of tricky. I think if this tech is well known, that it is probably better to not reveal it. But other than that, you might missing some percentage points if you just need a beater game 1 that you can get out of the sideboard. But yeah, that's my version.
Yeah, I think you don't reveal it in a normal tournament, not like in the Cup, where it's open decklist and everybody knows what you're on. But in a normal tournament, you always get more percentage points across the field if you don't reveal it in the first game.
I think so too.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I know you were playing that's Peer into the Abyss some months prior to this cast now. I think I can't see a single copy of it here. Why aren't you playing this over at Nauseam?
I think while I think that Peer, if it resolves, mostly means it wins you the game, and Ad Nauseam, if it resolves, is less likely to do so in Ant at least. The 2 mana expert difference is such a huge difference that I think it's not worthwhile to play it in the deck. It often means you need to wait for another turn, even if you can to go off basically, and that's just such a high sacrifice that I don't want to undergo. And
so you say it has a lower floor than Ad Nauseam, and you aim for the best possible outcome, not for the best case scenario, but for the worst case.
The highest floor, basically. And with
you aim for the highest floor.
With Ad Nauseam, I'm often also fine casting it, drawing 7 new cards, and then passing the turn, and then go off next turn. It's often a thing you also are doing in Storm sometimes. You kind of have to think a little bit differently in this way.
Yeah, it's a really nice list. I really like it. I also like can really dig the Kahira the sideboard. Very, very cool tech. I think the first person I saw doing this was Cliffy on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. I think so too, yeah.
Yeah, I really like it, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Peter, Philip, sorry. We have you left. Let's talk about what you are playing for the tournament.
Last but
Yes.
not least, I'm. At first, I was contemplating to play my old beloved dredge because it would certainly be the best meta call. Peter and I did a little bit of mapping out our opponents and what they are probably on, and we came to the conclusion that you definitely have to play a graveyard-based strategy if you wanna win this, or if you wanna
Have a good
go
chance
as
of caching and going
far
far.
as possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want to go far. But actually, at the moment, I simply can't dig Hogak or Dredge. I mean, these decks are great and will forever be my biggest love of the format. But at the moment, I just love to play. How Christian has called it. I think last week I tweeted it also. My deck choice is something like fringe shitty combo piles, and that sums it up very nicely. So for this tournament, I was contemplating either if I play this Rack Oxvine list or play Black Death, and I came to the conclusion that I wanted to play something monocolored and not go on the Rack hype train. And yeah, so this I'm playing a Black Death for this event. For the people who are unfamiliar with this type of deck, it's basically a mono black, almost mono black. All the combo shoved into it deck, yeah, and it's called Death. It's DETH, not Death, but DETH. It stands for Depths Tendrils Helm, and it's a deck um, that was invented by @TressWin on Twitter or Yumi and Iowa on Modo. I'm not sure about his real name at the moment. Yeah, we go through the deck list. We play 21 lands. These are 2 Ancient Tomb, 9 Swamp, 1 Lake of the Dead, 3 Dark Depths, 3 Thespian Stage, and 3 Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth. So basically you have the Stage and Depths combo in there, and some fast mana in Urborg and the Tombs and the Lakes. We play 2 Vampire Hexmage for the Depths combo, 2 Karn the Great Creator, we'll get later on to this. And then we got 4 Dark Ritual, a nice discard package formed by 3 Duress and 4 Thoughtseize. Then we have 4 Infernal Tutor, 3 Ill-Gotten Gains. Ill-Gotten Gains is a 4 mana sorcery, which reads Exile Ill-Gotten Gains. Each player discards his or her hand, then returns up to 3 cards from his or her graveyard to his or her hand. So basically what this does is you have 2 lines of diamonds in play, and have a infernal tutor in hand, and you just crack both LEDs, search for the ill-gotten gains, get back the 2 LEDs and an infernal tutor, and repeat this process. And with 3 cycles, you have Lethal Storm, and it's just doable with 3 cards, with 2 mana and 3 cards. So it's a very nice little storm combo compressed in this deck. Besides the Depth combo. Then we got a singleton Tendrils of Agony. And the one little blue splash we got is the singleton Echo of Eons, which we sometimes need to refuel our hands. And also is very nice in some graveyard-based matchups. Then for the artifacts, we've got 4 LEDs, 4 Lotus Petal, 3 Helm of Obedience, and 4 Leyline of the Void for the enchantment. So basically, that's fast mana and the Helm and Leyline combo. For those who are unfamiliar with this combo, because it happens all the time, also on Mono, that people that I can make a turn 0 Leyline followed up by turn 2 Helm, and they don't counter it even if they have the counter, because they aren't bothered to read through the whole text of the card and simply think, oh, fuck this, it's a 4 mana nothing. Yeah, and then you simply die to it. So what the Helm basically does is you pay X and tap, and your opponent mills the top X cards, or until a creature is put into the graveyard. So it's an either or. And then you sacrifice the Helm, and you get the creature in play, or the opponent has just milled the cards. But Leyline stops the cards from ever hitting the graveyard, so the Helm mills the whole library, and they die from not drawing any more cards. So that's basically the whole main deck. As you can see, we have the 3 main deck combos in the Storm, the Depths, and the Helm combo. And then we go over to the sideboard. We got 2 Fatal Push, 1 Painter Servant, 1 Grindstone. So we have the Painter combo in here. 1 Pithing Needle, 2 Defense Grid, 2 Hymn to Turak, 1 Vampire Hexmage, 1 Ensnaring Bridge, 2 Plague Engineer, 1 Helm of Obedience, and 1 Mycosynth Lattice. So back to the main deck, the 2 Karn Great Creator are there to find the missing Helm if you go for a turn 0 Leyline, or can even find the Painter Grindstone combo, or if you have really a lot mana, which this deck sometimes does, you can just lattice them out of the game. And so you basically have 5 combos in this 75 shoved together.
I mean, even 6 if you count ill-gotten gains, right? Kind of.
Yeah, this neat little interaction I forgot to tell you is ill-gotten gains reads that each player discards the hand and then puts them back from the graveyard into the hand. So if you get a Leyline of the Void out, your opponent discards into exile and can't get anything back. So ill-gotten gains basically reads 4 mana, target opponent discards their hand, and you get to pick the 3 best cards from your graveyard. Which can happen as soon as turn 1. So sometimes that's just enough.
Oh yeah.
it's basically a very fun deck. It's very off the wall, and it's something I really, really like. I really love the fact that people can't really um, grasp all the things this deck can do. So they maybe they see only the depth combo or the helm combo in game one, and then they totally overboard versus this. And most of the time, I take pieces out from the combo I won the last time with. So
That's very good. Yeah.
yeah, they board for something that's not even there anymore, and then they just get killed by storm. Yeah, I think it can be very frustrating to play against this, but it I gotta admit it has the problem of any non-blue deck that it doesn't play the cantrips, and sometimes it lacks the consistency. So sometimes you draw the wrong half of your deck, which can happen. And really, really hard matchups are things like Maverick, because they got all the tools to stop all your combos in the tracks. Like things like Collector Oof, Deafening Silence, Galactique, Thalia, Wasteland Caracas all hurt this deck really much.
Yeah.
And these are probably the hardest matchups to play against.
I think something like what is it called? Deafening Silence, like you mentioned. You can't really get rid of the card, right? I don't see you.
No, not really, no.
Have you thought about engineered explosives in this sideboard? I mean, you
don't have the mana.
Yeah, you have petals and you have mox. Oh no, the mox. You have petals and deletes, but yeah, I know it is most of the time not more than, let's say, XS2, which is
it can't be more than XS2, because with the lead you can't play the EE. You have to tutor into an EE.
It's kind of rough, yeah, but it's, I think, the only way
it's
I can
something,
see in black that you can, and you can get it with Karn. That's the reasoning.
Yeah,
I'm mentioning this card. Maybe in the sideboard as a one-off, I don't know. And for Deafening Silence, X is one is even enough. So I don't know.
Could be something, yeah.
Yeah, some iterations of this deck play Ratchet Bomb.
Oh yeah, this is also possible, yeah.
Which is a nice catch-all, but I opted against it because Maverick and D&T and these decks that, or the cards that this deck really struggle against, aren't very common at the moment. So everything we see is Snowco and Rockdelver and Hogak and Combo, and with Skyclave Apparition, sure, more D&T, and there may be also Deafening Silence, but yeah, there are just some matchups where I gotta admit you probably won't win them, and I think that's the way to go. With the 4 Leylands main deck, I have so many free wins versus the graveyard matchups. I'll take this and just forget about the others, I think.
Yeah, sure.
I think for some decks, it's just the way to go to accept that you lose a matchup. It's the same for Paint with Sneak and Show and something like that. So yeah, it's definitely the right call for a few decks, I think. And yeah,
if you are so restricted by your color combination or your mono color, then it's probably the best thing to do. If you just forget about a matchup, just accept it. Sure, if you're playing blue and Astrolabe and can play all the colors, then it's nice. Yeah, but I think that then you have very less polarizing matchups.
Yeah.
So you're more even in the field, but some things you simply you have to work harder, and so you can have more free wins and also more hard losses.
Yeah.
It's more about
We'll
matchup luck then.
certainly watch you how you perform in the tournament. And speaking of tournament, there's another one, a big series. I don't know when it actually took place. I have to admit I didn't really follow, but it's the Lotus Box tournament.
It was from Sunday
It
to
was
Monday
last Sunday.
Yeah, and
for
I
us in
think
Europe.
how did the decks or people fare in that tournament?
Yeah, it's we have a metagame summary. We have 89 people joining the tournament. From the names, it was really stacked. From Julian to XG Cloud to Mark-Erik Vogt, we had a lot of different public faces that played the tournament, and it was ultimately won from Mark-Erik Vogt. I think it was 4 o'clock in the morning for him in Germany, and he won with his trusted Snow Miracles.
Snow
And
Miracles, okay.
So shout out to Mark. Congratulations.
definitely, he streamed the whole tournament, so I'm short of it. I have to rewatch the VOD. I think I've watched up to the 6th round or something like that, because then I went to bed. But yeah, the VODs are on Twitch now. You have to, you can find him at Pemin, just like the magic character. And yeah, definitely a fun stream to tune into, and definitely a great pilot.
I think it was it presented by Anzid?
Yeah, it was the Anurag Das Dice City,
City
Games Lotus Box tournament. Yeah.
And it was hosted by Team Lotus Box.
Yeah. And yeah, at /Pemin, twitch.tv/Pemin, you can find the winner, Mark-Erik Vogt. And yeah,
So yeah,
about the metagame. Yeah, we had about 12.5% Snowco, 11.2% Devon Texas, above 5% Elves, above 5% Hogak, about 5% Steamer Delva, and then a lot of different decks below the 3.5% mark.
So the top 8 for this Lotus Box event are on 8th place. It's Theodore Lockman on Dredge. Then on 7th place we've got Buck Hogak from Marcus Thibault. 6th place it's Tariq Patel, also on Buck Hogak. On 5th place, Brandon McCarley. I think it was that's Death Shadow. Buck Death Shadow. No,
Yeah.
only Demon Death Shadow.
Demon Death Shadow, yeah. I think so,
don't
yeah.
know why it's called.
Or is
Buck
it?
here. No, it's Demon Death Shadow. On 4th place we've got John Ryan Hamilton, XJ Cloud with his Sky Noodle Texas, like he likes to call it.
This deck.
Yeah, it's 80
Yeah,
card
but
depth in
it fared
Texas with
him
Yorion.
quite well. Yeah, he performed quite well. We have to admit.
It's kind of strange.
I'm personally not sure if this version is better than normal. For me, it's also strange, yeah, but it works for him. So, congrats.
Yeah,
to
credit
that.
where credit is due. So, congratulations
Definitely.
to XJ Cloud for 4th place. On 3rd place, we've got Elves from Curran Delahanty. On 2nd place, Mono Blue Karn Echoes from Greg Dyer. And on 1st place, like we said already, Snow Miracles from Mark-Erik Vogt. Congratulations there. Like we said, it was a really, really stacked tournament with a lot of great players.
I mean, the top deck lists look kind of diverse, actually. If you look through them.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure,
yeah,
they
there's a
do.
little bit of emphasis on the. I mean, is there really an emphasis? I'm not sure. Not really.
Not in the top, but Snowco was really
Not in the top, yeah.
overrepresented with
Yeah.
11 decks. It's really much,
Yeah.
yeah, and also 10 different taxes is a
I
really
think
high number.
Yeah.
Devon Texas was the most represented deck.
The second most. Snowco was the most, and
Second
then
most.
Devon
Okay,
Texas.
then maybe my data is wrong here.
Yeah, it could be that the archetypes are a little bit different on the MTG Melee website to MTG Goldfish. On MTG Goldfish, we have 11 decks that are categorized on
Okay.
Snowco.
Yeah, I think they mixed
but-
up some names at MTG Melee, yeah.
Yeah, so
For example, in the top 8, the Buck Hogak list from Tarek Patel is entitled as Sultai Control, which is, of course, not correct.
I think
Hogak, the
I would name
ultimate
it correct.
control deck.
It's-
Woo!
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So I'll trust the deck naming of MTG Goldfish a little bit more here. So okay, yeah, more Snowco.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we will just look a few into the statistics from the latest Legacy Challenge 2.
Yeah.
And then we have quite a different picture. I mean, we have above 30% Timo Delva. 10 out of 32 decks were Timo Delva. We have 4 Snowco, which means the same 12.5% as in the Dice City Games Lotus Box Anorak Das Ultra Tournament. Then we have 4 Elves player. Yeah, and the rest Khan Echoes, Hogak, Mono Green Cloud Post. A lonely sliver player jumping into 3rd place. Shout out to Daniel Nunes. Definitely not a new deck, but a returning deck to the top 8 of a little bit of a bigger tournament. And yeah, I think the meta is currently fine, but yeah, we have to keep an eye on Blue Soup, aka Snowco and Timo Delva rising to the top. But I think with Devon Texas, we have a good deck to beat them currently.
Yeah, they certainly increased their power level lately through Skycleave Apparition. Yeah.
Yeah, the answer to Oko was really huge for them. It was previously a good matchup, and them unable to answer Oko by any means was just really bad. And now with them being able to answer Oko again, or the biggest threat again, it's definitely something good. But yeah, I think we will come now to the last part of our cast today, and this is talking about the spoiler season. And we
spoiler
only have
season.
We're always happy.
We only have
like the whole
it's-
2020, all the time spoiler season.
Yeah, but
Spoiler year.
what we can say is that this feels more like a 2017 spoiler season, and we definitely appreciate it.
Oh yeah,
Even though
it's
we have some
it's
concern.
such a good feeling to really feel this time that Legacy won't break, that no bennies are
Philip, you have to
needed.
knock on some wood here.
Yeah, I will go over the cards, but I will die on this hill. I don't think any of these cards will break Legacy.
Yeah, let's talk about some cards. The first one that I stumbled across here was Court of Cunning. I think that's one potential card that has been discussed.
Yeah. The 2 cards of the court cycle is Court of Cunning and Court of Grace that are concerning to me. Cut of Cunning is a 3 mana, 1 and 2 blue mana enchantment with an ETB ability that you become the monarch. And at the beginning of your upkeep, any number of target players each mill 2 cards. And if you are the monarch, you mill 10 cards, which is basically a 5-turn win condition in a control deck that will draw your card when it enters the battlefield. And now with Icefang Quartal being played less, this could be a way to win. It also empowers your Uros, and if you mill yourself, and yeah, that's definitely something that can be played.
I mean, the cost is a little bit, more severe. But I heard that Miracles wants to try this instead of Monastery Mentor as Wincon. It's also 3 mana. And I think the double blue mana cost is not a problem at all for Miracles. So might be a better option than the Mentor.
Something I heard about this card was it's being played in a Green Sun Zenith Bunchel of that you can power out it on turn 2 with Daze Protection and something like that.
Okay.
Which would be a new archetype because it's another win condition, but there's the problem that you don't. Yeah, it's two sides of a coin because Court of Cunning doesn't provide you anything. I mean, you would for sure play Uru in that form of deck because it's just a no-brainer with Court of Cunning. But yeah, it's maybe we have another archetype, or we will see how it goes.
Another UGX good stuff shell popping up.
Pile. But at least the engine is different. But a different engine is definitely something that
at least it's pyroblastable, right? You can pyroblast it at least.
Yeah, definitely. But the monarch is still around. That's the problem.
8 blast. I'm playing 8 blast anti-control.
8 blast.
12 blast. Also for Veil of Summer. And the next UGX deck is
with
born.
Paint and Hydroblast. And the next card is Court of Grace. It costs 4 CMC, 2 generic and 2 white. And it's basically enter the battlefield, you become the monarch, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you generate a 1/1 flying spirit token, or if you are the monarch, you generate a 4/4 white flying angel token. Yeah, it's definitely a good card, but 4 CMC is way less powerful than 3 CMC to me. But
I think you're a little bit biased for, of 2019, Peter.
Yeah, for sure.
Why? Because I think in isolation, I think this card is incredibly strong. But
Court of Grace definitely.
Comparing that to 2019, it just seems weak. It just seems mediocre.
It's not an Oko,
problem
and
is
it's not
that
blue or green.
I do not know if the problem is if Felidar Retreat is better than Court of Grace. They are very similar cards, and
I can see that.
And I do not know which of those is better. It really depends on the shell. But this one, this one with Enter the Battlefield, draw a card could be definitely troublesome.
But I think
that's for sure. Yeah.
When was the last time a white card was broken in any sense that it warped the format? I think I can't remember.
Skycliff application.
If you count Omnath, it's probably Omnath. Yeah.
I wouldn't really count
but
that.
Not about Legacy.
I wouldn't really count Omnath.
I think Teferi shaped Legacy a bit playstyle-wise, but it was quickly sorted out in a lot of decks. And then I think Terminus was the card that shaped the format the most.
Yeah, definitely. It was Terminus,
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's about the cards.
Yeah.
Then we have Cheska's Will, which is basically a card for Mono Red Storm. It's either a refill, which I don't know. There is an exact card that does the second ability of it, which exiles the top 3 cards of
Yeah,
your
there-
library, and you
there
can
is
play
one,
them
yeah.
this turn.
It's act
And
on impulse.
It can be a ritual. Act on impulse, yeah.
Act on impulse.
And
yeah.
the first ability is that you can add 1 red mana for each card in target's opponent's hand to your mana pool, which could be something if you go off on turn 1. But
Oh yeah, Cheska's Will is great. And I'll probably get the playset of them. And maybe
Yeah.
I'll bust out the Mono Red Storm I have laying around at home.
Yeah, definitely.
So would you
And-
play that in how's it called, Ruby Storm maybe?
Yeah, that's Mono Red Storm, yeah?
Is it the same deck? Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the same deck, yeah. Ruby Storm and Mono Red Storm are the same deck.
Yeah, then we have Hull Breacher, which was talked about, but I think this is just too below of a power level wise currently in Legacy. But it could definitely be played in Merfolk, but yeah, let's see if it will be played. I'm definitely not sure on this one.
I think Hull Breacher is more of a vintage card.
Yeah,
Where
it's definitely
Narset is restricted, and this is probably Narset 2-5. So it can it could alone revive a whole archetype with 4 Echo, 1 Narset, 4 Hull Breacher, and 4 Lions at Diamond. You have a new deck.
Yeah, definitely.
For me, it just seems like a cheaper and slightly weak Notion Thief.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know if that makes it playable.
I do not think so.
I like it. I like the design.
Yeah, the
think
design
it's
is
cool.
good.
That's another card that would perfectly fit into white. It's blue now. That's really the flow of the time.
Yeah, but yeah, I think this one is fine. And then
Yeah,
we
it's
have a
for sure fine, yeah.
last card to talk about, and this one was the card that was talked, I think, about the most. And this one is Opposition Agent. It's a 3 CMC card, 2 generic, 1 black, a human rogue with flash, and it has the ability on it: you control your opponents while they're searching their libraries. While an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast them, which is basically a fetch hate.
Mm-hmm.
And another cute thing with this card is that you are allowed to see their hands while you search their library, because you control them, so you can see their hand. And yeah, it's definitely something that hates on Doomsday, fetches, and every other tutor we have in the format.
Can you look at the sideboard of your opponent during?
I think not.
No, because Leonin Arbiter also doesn't work with wishes. Or with tutors.
No, I mean
it works with tutors, but not with wishes.
I'm just meaning
Because you
I mean, I just mean since you are controlling the opponent, and I'm asking what this actually means if you control an opponent, because if you
there was a case prior, because you weren't allowed to look at the sideboards, even though the opponent was playing TES. Previously.
That's what I want to ask.
And you cast Burning Wish, and you weren't allowed to look at the sideboard.
Okay.
And so you had to turn up a random card from the sideboard and had to put it into your hand if it was a sorcery or something like that. Or wishes were turned off completely. I'm not sure about that, but
okay,
Nowadays, you are allowed to look at the sideboard if you play a card specifically that says you have to look at the
So
sideboard.
if they are playing Karn, you can look at the sideboard. For
If
example.
you're down to Khan, yeah.
Yeah. So do you have to use the effect, or do you have?
Yeah.
Okay. So it is not sufficient if you just have a card in your deck that, in theory, can access the sideboard. So you actively have to use this kind of effect. Okay.
So, yeah. I mean, opposition agent, we will have to see if it makes a new archetype like a mono black aggro or stompy version. But yeah, we talked.
I think opposition agent and the hull breacher maybe could make a new blue-black flash deck a possibility, because in Zendikar Rising we had the Flash Lord, the Cunning Nightbonder. I'm not sure what it does actually. Just look this up. Cunning. It was from Ikoria, and it's for 2 mana, a creature human rogue with flash, and spells with flash you cast cost 1 less to cast and can't be countered.
Okay.
So maybe there's some potential in there with no idea, Snapcasters and or spell status and everything that has flash in any kind of way. Maybe even splash white for spell quellers.
Yeah. So yeah, it definitely could spike a new archetype or a new type of play. But yeah, we definitely have to wait for it. I'm not sure the shell that would be played into it, if it is a good efficient sideboard card against the field. So it could see play in something like Grixis Delver or maybe another control pile with black or something like that. But yeah, we definitely have to wait for that, because I'm not sure how to play it. I'm not that good into it in deck brewing with new cards. I'm more the guy that throws in random cards and painters the opponent. So yeah, we definitely have to wait for it. And yeah, I think we have to come to an end for today.
Yeah.
And
yeah, for sure, we're already at our time. So if you like our podcast, you can take a review on iTunes. Would be really great if you rate us. If you wanna hear more from us, we're all on Twitter. Our cast is @response_legacy. You can find me on Twitter @PhinikMTG, PhinikMTG. And Peter, how about you?
yeah, you can find me on Twitter on @UnicornLord, but the O in the Lord is a 0. And you find me regularly on Twitch @UnicornLordMTG. As previously, the O in the Lord is a 0. Daniel, where can we find you?
On Twitter, it's @FlyingDelver. And in the next few weeks, you can also find me on Twitch, basically, on our Austrian Legacy League channel. So make sure to watch that while I commentate some of the matches we have going on our Legacy Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's for this week. Tune in. And I forgot we got also new news. We have a YouTube channel now.
Oh, yeah.
So you can also hear all our podcasts, all our episodes on YouTube. In response, a legacy podcast. So you probably find us there. And for the future, we have also plans to film us when we are recording, so you have even more in-depth experience from your 3 handsome hosts.
We'll rename our podcast in response a handsome podcast. For that purpose.
A handsome legacy podcast.
So I think
Enough
that's
bragging.
a wrap.
That's a wrap. Yeah.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube, and review us on iTunes. This would be greatly appreciated. It helps us to get the word spread. And yeah, we'll see you in 3 weeks.
So in response, the end.